Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Medevac podcast. I'm your host, Christian Myers, joined by our other host today, David Reed.
Hello, everybody.
Before we hop into today's guest, or who today's guest is, keep in mind there's a price for the show. If you're new here, you have to share it with a friend or family member if you get something out of today's episode.
Ask questions, leave comments.
Interact somehow. Be nice.
Yeah, reach out to us.
Yeah, let us know what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. And just a little heads up, we will be doing a few more of these live episodes. If you saw last week, we had a live Q&A episode come out. We're going to be announcing those beforehand. We're not just going to surprise you with it. So if you want to interact, if you want to be a part of those episodes, get a hold of us, shoot us a message, and keep an eye out for those as they happen, because
we'll announce those about a week in advance.
Yeah, something like
to let
that.
you guys know a time that we're going to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Have a list of questions. We love questions. Keep them nice. Keep them positive.
Yeah, let us know what you want to hear.
Who's our guest today?
Our guest today is Michael Gomez. Welcome, Michael. Thanks for being here.
No, thanks for letting me come out.
Yeah, absolutely. He is a former 10th Mountain Infantry.
Forward observer with the 10th Mountain Division.
Forward observer, excuse me.
FO.
FO.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's pretty much like infantry plus a couple more gadgets.
Every little boy's dream, blowing stuff up.
Like blowing stuff up. Well, Michael was in 10th Mountain from late 2007 until around 2009, 2010, after sustaining a couple of injuries. So we're going to talk about those injuries, his time in the service, and then what you've been up to since. So
Perfect.
welcome. Thanks for
Welcome to the show, brother.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you guys do here. It means a lot whenever you can flip it on your phone, listen to it, hearing other guys' experiences, but then you feel like you're part of the group again.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make it feel like you're less alone?
Oh, definitely. For sure.
That's what it's all about. This whole show is just about sharing stories in a comfortable setting so that we could get through our own obstacles, our own adversities that we face. So let's rewind way back to 2007 and prior to that. What made you want to join the military? Did you have family history? Was it about, selfless service or just getting a college degree?
It was in college. I came from a really small town, same as Tim Horton that you guys had on before. King City, Missouri, probably the best hidden secret in Missouri.
Yeah.
And don't tell them. They'll rush. They'll start flocking there. Californians are moving there already.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the older gentlemen in my town were in the Korean War, Vietnam, and my dad and my stepdad were both in the military. So it was kind of ingrained. My twin brother tried to join the Marines during our senior year of high school, but being extremely large in their standards, we weren't cutting that one. And we went to college for the first year, tried to play football. Was not ready for college. So I started working in a jail, what would have been the second year of college, back home. And I noticed that I was kind of a professional babysitter, sitting around doing nothing with my life. And kind of the height of the war was starting. So a couple guys there were in the National Guard, and they talked me into, I was going to go in the National Guard, decided to just go ahead and go full on, and walked into the Army recruiter station. My twin brother found out. He said, "You're not going without me." So we both enlisted for being forward observers with the Army.
Now, you mentioned that earlier prior to the show. Identical or fraternal?
Identical.
Wow.
For sure. I'm 6'4", he's 6'2", and other than the voice, you can't really tell.
So he's just got a 2-inch difference. So you guys must go head to head with each other all the time?
We did back in the day. I mean, we're pretty good friends now.
Yeah.
But we compete a lot. He gets a classic car, I get a classic car. He gets a truck, I get a truck, back and forth. And the only thing we're not competing on are our kids. He's 5 boys deep.
And you have kids?
No, I do not.
No kids. That would be interesting to see like how identical the kids would look too,
If he's playing Russian roulette, if they try for another, it's got to be a boy.
Yeah.
There's no chance.
Man, that is a handful for sure. Yeah. That's a handful.
Start your own football team.
Right. And they're awesome. My nephews back home, they're really cool kids.
Did he do infantry as well? Or FO as well?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
We both went to Fort Jackson, because like I said, I had to take a second go at MEPS. So we did.
So why did you, for the audience here, why did you have to take a second go at MEPS?
So the height of the war, as long as you pretty much hadn't killed somebody, you were being allowed in. I did well on the ASVAB and everything, but it was really the body weight. A Midwestern boy. It was good. What is it? Vaseline and saran wrap. What was that? Or Preparation H and saran wrap. I mean, it works to an extent, but when you're at the hotel the night before, don't eat the dessert. It's probably not good for you to pass. So I failed the first time. My brother passed. We had to go back there again because of me. But, to sort of stay on the buddy system, we did that and enlisted on the 50-yard line of the Chiefs football stadium. And the day after Thanksgiving left.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So real quick turnaround then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. As soon as we said we wanted to go, they were like, shoot, how soon can you go? Like, let's get it.
Nice.
Yeah. So how did you find yourself into that MOS?
I was actually going to be an MP or an engineer.
With given your background, that would make sense.
Right. My mother and father, like they worked in the prison in St. Joseph, Missouri my entire life. Mm-hmm. And my mom actually still works there. So law enforcement, everything's kind of in our history. And I was just, an MP sounded cool because I wanted to be a cop. And one of the recruiters walked in, a younger guy, he's like, do you want to do something cool? And I'm like, well, I'm down.
Yeah.
Like, you get to blow stuff up. So like let's do it.
Sign me up.
But in the back of my head, I'm putting C4 down and hitting a clacker or something. I'm a kid that's watching movies.
Yeah.
I get to basic training. One of our drill sergeants asked what we were doing, and he proceeded to make fun of us with how large we are and hiding behind the big pylons, in the bay. Like, hey, I'm Gomez, I'm trying to hide on top of the mountain. But and then, fast forward to being in Afghanistan, carrying an ASIP with a huge antenna, you're not hiding from anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
Yeah. And then you're carrying about how much in weight?
Just body-wise or bag-wise?
Just, it all.
Let's shoot. Over 400 pounds total.
Yeah.
You're carrying, we would dismount 60 cannons, so we were carrying extra rounds, extra 240 rounds. My radio, 4 or 6 batteries, depending on how long the mission was. Mm-hmm. It was a haul, but it was good, and you didn't notice it while we were there. So.
Okay, so did you and your brother, you guys trained together?
Correct, through basic AIT, and then another setback of mine, little land nav. Forward observer probably shouldn't fail land nav.
Hey, land nav gets a lot of people. I mean, it's a tricky one,
Yeah. I'll own all my own mistakes. It's my bad. But
Did your brother pass?
He did. So I was recycled to the class that graduated a week after his. Mm-hmm. So he went to Fort Riley, Kansas, 3 hours from home. Drove home every week. And whenever I got my orders to Fort Drum, New York, I've never left Missouri, so I'm thinking buildings, and I'm freaking out. And the senior NCO there at the school, he was like, "Oh no, it's great." As he's smoking a pipe, I'm like, "Why is it great?" And he's like, "Oh well, it's country, but you might pick up smoking because those will keep the mosquitoes out of your face." I'm like, "Well, not the best reation to pick up smoking."
Oh man, yeah. How about some just mosquito repellent?
Right. A little bit of DEET.
A little bit of DEET.
Right. Yeah, the green stuff the Army gives you.
Yeah,
perfect.
It just burns your skin, whatever.
Oh, yeah. And Fort Drum is beautiful. You couldn't ask for a better duty station.
So you liked it, Fort
Drum?
Okay.
I mean, if you get out of the barracks, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Buddy of mine that played for OSU had me come out and play for the Watertown Red and Black, the semi-pro team. It was, my first sergeant found out, and he was like, "I don't care if you break your leg, you're still deploying." I'm like, "Roger that. Like, I have no problem. I'm not getting out of the deployment."
Yeah. What have you heard about Fort Drum?
Just good things.
Yeah, good things too.
Black hole.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Stay away from Watertown. Stay away out of the Black River.
I know there's a big skydiving facility up there, the ranch. It's about an hour away. So I know a lot of people who are stationed there, like, get into skydiving. And they end up there, and they always talk about how beautiful it is. And I see videos all the time. So, yeah, I mean, I don't blame you for enjoying that. Being out in the middle of nowhere, it's way better than being downtown New York.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that would be rough.
Yeah, that would.
I definitely, young private asked for a leave or a leave packet, whatever, some permission, and we didn't get it, but went ahead and went 8 hours south to DC anyways.
Yeah,
made it back in my piece of crap '96 Silverado. I just barely made it in time Monday for PT, and we would have caught hell.
Yeah.
God, yeah. DC is a crazy place, especially for a young man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you go there once, and then a year and a half later, you're going to be. I lived there for a year and a half while being in the hospital and everything.
Yeah. So, once you got to Fort Drum, how fast till you deployed?
Shoot, got there in March and deployed in January. We had a scare, not necessarily a scare, but we were called up for the global reactionary force. We're about to go to Solder City, be called up for that in August of 2008. And we were staging our stuff, and then all of a sudden they said stand down. So we went back to planning for Afghanistan.
Okay.
Yeah. And so will that be about 8-9 months before we deployed?
Man, it's so crazy the turnaround. Like they just train you up and you're out. Like
right. And all of my
Especially the
guys,
Army.
the Army does that for sure.
Yeah. And all my guys that I had deployed with had just done the 18-month in the Cornwall. So they were they were rode hard that deployment. A lot of the guys told us the story that they had all their bags staged, ready to get on the Chinook to come back. And then they got the call saying, put your stuff back. You're staying for 6 more months. I couldn't imagine going through that.
Yeah, that's rough. And we've been actually a lot of guests that we've been talking to lately have told us that, especially during that time, training has been kind of rushed a little bit.
Yeah.
And how crazy is that?
Well, that's it. Always comes down to, we have this conversation a lot with obviously injured personnel, guys and girls who have been injured overseas and during deployments. What it always comes down to is a lack of leadership or a lack of effective leadership capabilities and forethought. Having that foresight, like, maybe we should actually take this training seriously, get back to basics, and stop, focusing on these things that we think are going to get us killed, and actually break down the data, identify the things that are killing us or injuring us, and focus our training on those things and actually put forth the effort. Like a lot of the leadership, especially in the early 2010s, mid 2010s, just dropped the ball with that.
Right. And I can tell you, and not to be negative at all. So my twin brother and I, we had the same experience joining the Army, same career, everything, different duty stations, totally different leadership experience.
Oh yeah.
Some of his weren't exactly, to your liking or,
Sure.
whatever. They were great guys. I met them a lot after I came back from deployment. I'd go out and sit in their office whenever I flew home from DC. Great guys, maybe just not the best leader. The place that I was stationed at with the 1st of the 32nd Infantry Regiment, in the headquarters company, our FO, like our FSNCOs, great dudes. One guy came from Ranger Regiment. He just retired. He's living in South Korea, just enjoying life. And even down to my platoon sergeant, we kind of had the dad mentality. Like, I hate my dad growing up because he was hard on us, but it was good that he was hard on us.
Yeah, it's beneficial.
All of us nowadays are like, man, we are so happy that, he was that's the way we survived. But they definitely, and I think it comes from those guys coming back from the Cornwall. They had been through some of the worst of it, and they made us take it seriously.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Is like, what is the balance on how tough you are on your kids, right? The conversation came up the other day. We were talking, and a little bit of adversity goes a long way, right? With what just happened with the Navy, is the Navy are getting upset because this birthday video got released of them CS gassing. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
CS gassing the SEALs.
Yeah.
And the Navy's like getting all on these guys for through an investigation on this is you're treating these guys poorly.
Like calling it hazing or something.
Hazing. Is it hazing?
I don't know.
You're getting prepared for war.
Yeah.
You can't be soft.
You can't be soft in war.
You're going against somebody that's not going to, just because you hold up a card or say timeout, they're not stopping.
Yeah.
And try that overseas, when people are shooting at you and you're just destroyed mentally.
Yeah, or if you don't know how to make it through that. Like if you can only get halfway through an iteration before you're drawing your card or, so to speak, there's no real, I don't think there's actual stress cards that they're pulling out, but.
There was.
Oh, was there?
There was, once upon a time.
Well, even in the Air Force, I never saw that.
Yeah.
I heard about it after we made it through basic and, say what you will. We went through Fort Jackson. It might have been a little more relaxed, definitely. But you can't soften the standards. I actually fast forward a little bit. After being injured, I drove down to South Carolina to meet some friends that had also been injured. They were back stateside, and I drove through Fort Jackson just to relive the glory days, drive by the barracks, and I was out walking by the barracks, and some of my old drill sergeants came out and hollered at them, probably not proper. But they came over and started talking to me like we were friends. They were like, "We heard you died." I'm like, "No, I'm still here." Most of me.
Yeah.
And I actually got to go and talk to their brand new shipment of recruits.
Wow.
They had the entire company formed up. They were screwing with them guy had their rank on upside down, holding their weapon the wrong way, all this stuff. And Fort Jackson, I think it's mostly like mechanic, maybe admin, MOSs go there usually. Okay. And this drill sergeant Sabron, who's a fantastic cat, he actually lives here in San Antonio area now. He asked me to talk to them because they all thought they wouldn't go to war. So this is the end of 2009. I was just there 2 years ago-ish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to stand in front of them like, look, guys, like listen to what they say. You don't have the same job as me. You know, it's cool, but you're going to deploy more than likely, especially with what's going on right now. Take what they say seriously. You know, just it might save your life someday. You never know. And it's a muscle memory thing. Whenever they teach you, you know, whenever you come into contact, you get cover. Okay, cool. Well, every time I was in a firefight, you don't even have to think about it. You just find cover, return fire.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's really interesting that no matter how many, you know, if you haven't experienced it, you're not going to get it. You know, I mean, war for all of us before we went was what we saw in the movies. You even said it yourself.
Yeah.
So I had somebody, a young girl that joined the Army. I knew her. Her dad was my football coach, and they're an amazing family. Tim and I's football coach. And she made a statement.
Tim played football?
Yeah, back in the day.
Dang.
He was 3 years older than me. He was in my sister's class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And their family was like the bedrock of our town. Just super humble, awesome people. I couldn't say enough good things about them. Shoot, where was I going there?
I interrupted.
Young girl joining the your football coach daughter.
So the football coach's daughter messaged me, and she was saying, you know, she was joining the Army, she was going to be an MP, and she couldn't wait to get into contact or in combat, whatever. I'm like, it's great that you say that, but and I saw it in some article back in 2009, 2010. It was the first sergeant that had a Latin tattoo, and it said something about ignorant or the unexperienced. And it really, so my twin brother actually re-enlisted, and he went to Fort Campbell. They were staged to go to Afghanistan. That would have been his third deployment. And I'm glad he didn't go. I mean, you know, a lot of people, like you're saying, that haven't been there, they don't understand what they're asking for. And you can't undo it once you've seen it. Not that it's a bad thing. Like, I don't regret a thing about it. I would go back tomorrow to keep somebody else out of it. But yeah, if you haven't experienced it, you don't know what you're going to do, how you're going to react.
It's true.
If you're going to take fire, or, you know, if you're going to return fire, if you're going to hide.
Yeah, and it's a necessary evil, but evil nonetheless.
Definitely.
And it is, and you're totally right. You never know how you're going to react or how you're going to be able to deal with it until you enter those situations. They can prepare you all day long, and they do. I mean, they did an excellent job preparing me to go, my unit to go. I would argue the same thing for Dave and like the Ranger Bats. Like, those guys are super well prepared to when they show up. Like, they know exactly what they're doing. They know how to get through that stuff. But there's a lot of people who are kind of fall by the wayside, especially in those admin personnel or, you know, the non-direct combat jobs, who can often end up in those positions, right? How many times have you seen an admin personnel end up in a convoy? They're like, "Hey, we're short 3 people, you 3." Like, you're going. Like,
that's one of my friends that we lost. He was a NBC specialist.
Oh yeah,
amazing dude. He is actually Native American from Canada. He joined the United States Army over the Canadian Army because we had cooler uniforms.
He's not wrong.
Right.
It's not wrong. Except the Navy's, we just talked about this, the Navy's blue digital camo.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You fall in the water and you just disappear.
Yeah, definitely.
It's effective.
Yeah. It is effective, I guess. But then when you're on a boat, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Right.
Only if you fall into the water.
The only stipulation was that it had to be effective, and it was.
Yeah.
Then you have the ACUs that are blending into the moon, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the ACU, like, you would glow in the dark.
Yeah.
Overseas, like, you glowed in the dark
on mountainsides on a full moon, like last night.
Yeah.
They would see you walking around like fireflies.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
The Mounties uniforms are way cooler though.
So you lost your buddy who was NBC specialist. Like, do you remember the conversation that led up to him joining the convoy?
Yeah. So he would volunteer all the time.
Oh, he volunteered.
So we were out on a very small outpost outside of Shark in Afghanistan. That was our last place. We started in Baraki Barak. Had one of the longer firefights in Afghanistan history at the time. cleared out the terror cell there, and was super proud of my guys. I was stuck on a guard post, and they didn't relieve me, so I had to watch it through a drone feed, and it sucked. I'm sitting there in the talk watching, asking if I can go with the next platoon that's going out, and they're like, no, you got to stay here. So, we moved to a town called Shark. We were in a little outpost, and right before it happened, we were sitting there at 2:00 in the morning. We were doing a blackout mission, rolling into town to go out towards another part of the mission or whatever, and bummed a cigarette off him. Sitting there talking to him. He was set to TC a truck, and it just through happenstance, the night, what was it? The floodlight on the front of the truck wasn't working correctly, and they rolled down a hill. The combat lock on the door failed, and
oh shit!
We lost one of our best friends that was there. He was the company barber. Freaking, he could do a fade like nobody else. He was just one of the nicest guys in the world. He has 2 amazing sons that are living in Minneapolis now with his wife is doing a great job raising them.
Yeah, that's hard. And you're still in contact with them?
Yeah, the road trip I told you about.
Oh yeah,
I actually helped to move her from New Braunfels up to there. She was given a mortgage-free home up there, and and the boys are doing great now. So
it's amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing. So you found you were overseas when this happened?
Correct. I was there.
And this was the same deployment that you had your difficulty and your challenge as well.
Correct.
So can you walk us through that?
Through
your whole experience, your leading up to it, your injury.
Okay.
And then what you faced.
Okay. Definitely. Well, so one thing about my brother was deployed to Iraq at the exact same time. So my mother, like Oliver, she could color her hair as much as she wanted to. It was all gray.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't listen to the news or anything. We came back. His first sergeant was really cool. We came back on R&R together, and he had been promoted before me, but I had seen combat before him. So not rock paper rank, but we were standing there in Kuwait with a specialist rank on and cab on, so it equaled out. But,
you're proud of that, I can see.
Yeah. At the time, it was,
the brotherly head butting.
I love
Our
it.
mortar platoon sergeant was there with us, and nobody has ever seen us together at this point. And he's just, you guys are like 2 little girls. You won't shut up. You're arguing. You're making fun of one another. Where you sit there in Kuwait to turn in your best.
Yeah.
And so we get back from R&R, and I think not too long after getting back, I hit my first IED. It was a pretty good one. Twisted the truck, to where the back ramp wouldn't go down. I was the only one not actually physically medevaced out of there. The second one was a great story. We left. We left the fob. We were going back to we refit. Got to take showers for the first time in like 3 weeks. We were taking spaghetti out to one of our platoons in the styrofoam containers, and during the mission brief, they were putting me in the truck with all the spaghetti. Great, big guy, all the food. It's gonna go well. One of our sergeants is like, man, if Gomez hits another ID, he's not gonna know if it's blood or spaghetti.
You just gotta. Making jokes and lightheartedness of this situation is just a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
For sure. You can't be serious about, I haven't been able to be serious about my injury since it happened.
Yeah.
But sure enough, 20 minutes out of the gate, hit an IED, marinara sauce everywhere.
Spaghetti all over the place. Yeah.
Fortunately, the only thing that happened there, my buddy jammed his foot off the brake, hurt his ankle. So not really too bad there.
What did your NCO say about the spaghetti after that?
Oh man, it was my lieutenant that came up. We dropped the back hatch, and he was like, "Man, Simmons called it." And, we're pulling the spaghetti out of the truck, trying to get me out. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Like we're all set here." But man, it was just maybe that led to one of the issues that I had for a little while. I mean, after my first IED, I'm holding on to the air conditioner on the top of the truck, scared, and as FOs, you deploy as a team. So my buddy Gregory, he's, seeing that, questioning that. And then the second IED, he was in the truck with me and kind of understood, like you're saying, if you haven't been there, you don't know. And after we both experienced it together.
It's just terrifying.
Yeah. Well, we're horrible. If Nickelback comes on the radio, I immediately turn it off or walk out of the building. Both IEDs I hit were to Nickelback, to the same song.
Oh no, the same song.
Same song, because I had the iPod with the little disc in it and stopped it both times.
Oh,
yeah.
So I figured that's enough of a message.
Yeah.
Drop that off the permanent playlist.
That's more than enough reason to stop listening to Nickelback, I think.
Interestingly enough, that reminds me of my parents was watching one of the Transformers when I was injured.
Mm-hmm.
And they say every time it comes on Transformers, they refuse to watch it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They just have that negative association.
Yeah, but there was also like 2 or 3 other incidences where they had bad news with Transformers playing. So maybe it's the gods telling us.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the first IED that I hit, the 3 others in the truck, I mean, we had a Sergeant Barcy that was in the TC seat. The combat lock also failed. The door came back and almost severed his hand. And so he was Medevac stateside, hand repaired. He actually made it back. That was probably in June. He made it back before the end of deployment. Like they let him redeploy and come back. And I mean, just badass.
Mm-hmm.
He's still in the Army and, kicking ass. He was drill sergeant cycle. He's just
the door motivated. Almost severed his hand?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he still came back on the same deployment?
Yeah.
Crushing injuries like that or not. Yeah.
Right. My buddy Mackie that blew the 50 cal of the truck, he smacked his nose at it was like fake blood almost because he slammed back through the gunner seat and just blood was coming out. It was insane. And then, he was all right once he came to and figured it out. And
he smacked his head on the 50?
I think his head went forward, hit the handle, and then the 50 actually was ejected into the river, like broke the pin. It was a good ride.
Yeah.
And no one got too banged up.
Nothing.
Minus the hand was the big one?
Nothing they couldn't recover from.
Yeah.
Worst thing that happened is the truck was recovered by, the engineers.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a bag of Red Man in the truck. The tow truck was hit by an IED and it burned both to the ground. So I lost my bag of Red Man.
Oh man. Casualties of war, brother. Casualties of war. What was the gaff you were running? So what vehicle?
It was the MRAPs.
MRAPs, yeah. Okay. And they did a good job.
They did. And, sorry to my commander. I know he's still in the military. We had just had the AC repaired on that truck. Our AC wasn't working, so we commandeered his truck and burned it to the ground.
Blew it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir.
I mean, we were not friendly to those vehicles at all. We were still using the Humvees. But on my deployment, they actually, the general order came down to quit using them in 2009. And the next day, our artillery battalion out of the 3rd Brigade, they took a truck out and, they lost all their guys. Just, I don't know if it was just complacency or not listening to the order.
Honestly, hitting an IED in a Humvee is never good. That's why I asked what vehicle it is, because MRAPs were designed for that.
They're like Legos. They just blow into pieces.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beneficial for dissipating those blasts.
Yeah, and the way they designed that floor of the MRAP, is very interesting. But it's just thank God, no one was injured on those two.
Definitely,
but it does. It makes you worry about it the entire time. I'm sure your stress must have been through the roof. Any ground assault you were doing.
No, definitely. If we left in a truck, I was worried until the second one, and then it kind of turned into why worry.
And you're just like a magnet to these things.
Yeah, just perfect.
Just keep Nickelback off the radio.
Yeah, but my best friend from Vermont that we were stationed together, we used to go over, I got to meet his folks and everything. We would sit on guard when we weren't on missions and smoke, stereotypically enough, Lucky Strike. He'd pick him up off the fob or whatever. But we were sitting there one time vividly, I can remember we're like, man, can we get that Forrest Gump wound? Just like little grays, get the Purple Heart.
Yeah, $1 million wound.
$1 million wound.
Well, we thought it would send your kids to college for free or something. We're like, all right, we get it. And, come to find out, it doesn't. But, it's cool enough. And, so first 2 IEDs. And then the culmination was we went out on a mission not long after Bergdahl was.
Oh, man. Yes.
He decided to go on a walk.
Yeah.
Boy.
Bergdahl.
What a story.
Yeah. So we are.
So were you involved in that? Like trying to
I would
survey the area essentially to comb the area to find this guy, or
that was some of the scope of the operation was. We aerosoled out 2-3 o'clock in the morning to the middle of the valley, way the hell out in the middle of nowhere, and just walk. And we're just basically walking back to our little outpost. And we're searching tents, searching culottes. That was the first night I had legitimately slept in a ditch, like feet above head. I mean, we'd slept on mountainsides a lot throughout the deployment. And so we woke up, went to search the first clot. We didn't even get close to it, got into contact. And we dumped like 20 60 millimeter rounds on the compound. Our mortarman was super proud of himself.
Yeah.
But
get some.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we get to the second clot. We're searching it, and we had been there 2 hours too long. The air cover we had on station decided to check off, and that's where I was eating my my fake McRib, my little beef patty.
That when air assets pull out, it's time to go.
I mean, they had been loitering. They had been on station for a while.
Yeah,
and it was no crap. As soon as they checked off, an AK went on, fired, and I rolled onto all fours from where I was seated, and an RPG impacted underneath my face. So
really,
yeah, and I had a buddy who was sitting about how far we are apart, and I I'm thankful. It would look like a cat scratched his arm, just the spin off of the shrapnel. I don't think he ever got checked for a TBI, but I was conscious through all of it.
Mm-hmm. So paint the scene a little bit here. So let's rewind back. What do you understand about this mission? What's your objectives here? Where are you coming from? How far are you traveling?
Yeah, so we I think we'd walked 3 or 4 miles the night before. Like I said, we aerosoled. We were inserted into a valley way out in the middle of nowhere. And on the walk to the first town that we were going to search, we found the Apaches on station. We were able to find guys up on a mountain watching us, and they took some hellfire to the face.
Yeah. I see you smirking a little bit here. Yeah. So that was probably pretty cool to watch.
It was great.
It's like the 4th of July.
Right. My buddy Gregory's controlling the Apaches, and we're just walking through a valley.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how awesome it was being a port observer, having aircraft check on station, give their fighter call, checklist, and just being able to control an aircraft.
Just be able to hear it about to unload.
The amount of power. Yeah.
We got into a gnarly firefight, and at the very end of it, I had an A&A guy next to me, and the pilot was saying that he needed to check off for another tick. Can he, do anything before he leaves? And I'm like, yeah, can we get a show of force? He asked how close. I'm like, as close as you feel safe. So he, calls in south to north, 500 feet. I'm like, oh God.
Oh man.
So I hit the Afghani next to me, and I was like, dude, just look up. Right in the middle of town, he just skyward, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Just to see it and hear it. This Afghani crapping his pants next to me.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah.
A show of force, 500 meters.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Meters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it felt like you could touch the bottom of the plane. It was insane.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That's insane. So, so you're walking in.
Correct. So at night through the darkness, walking in, of course, we're taking fire from mountainsides. The Apaches are taking care of that for us. And we set up in a ditch right outside the first town we were going to search. And like I said, search the first clot or get close to the first clot.
And you're searching for?
Yeah, we're searching for any intel, weapons, anything that we could. Okay. And, it was almost immediately after Bergdahl was found missing.
You're most likely searching for him as well.
Yeah, I think that the entire country kind of went into lockdown and searched.
Yeah, it did, for sure.
I'd never paint us as exactly what we're doing, but it was called Operation Shark Attack. I think there's still a YouTube video out there with our commander talking about it afterwards. But we searched the first clot after the firefight, get to the second one, and leadership, kind of, the platoon sergeant, squad leaders go in to search. The rest of us sit out on security. And I'm sitting next to one of the 240 gunners. And then, as soon as the air cover checks off station, we took the AK fire. And that's where I rolled on all fours, and the RPG impacted, jumped into what I thought was a ditch. It was actually where I just thrown my trash to burn it. It was like ankle deep. Then I saw the blood coming over and knew that something was wrong.
Okay. So it impacted whereabouts to you?
I rolled to the right on all fours, and it landed about a foot in front of my face on the ground. It
impacted on the ground?
Correct.
And shrapnel to the face?
Yeah, so the spin-off of shrapnel, I took it to the face. Thankfully, it went right along my eyebrow line. I didn't have a pretty face before, so it helped a little bit. Went through the nose. It actually severed cut my eye from side to side. Not, unbeknownst to us at the time. And whenever the medic got to me, she didn't know. But
it cut your eye. How?
The shrapnel actually cut it just from side to side.
Really?
Kind of laid it open. And but there was so much blood that whenever she got to me, she just put a gauze pad over my face and was holding pressure.
Okay.
We called in the Medevac, and I couldn't give enough credit to whoever was flying that Medevac bird. They landed under fire. And before that, we had experienced that you had to have the landing zone cleared for like an hour. We had one gentleman, or one of my sergeants, that went on to group, and I think he's just retiring. He was like my big brother. Whenever I showed up to New York, he's a freaking great dude. We were on a night mission, and using our nods, and an Afghani A&A guy decided to turn around with his flashlight and flood out his nods, and he fell off a wall and broke his fib and tib. And the next year he was going to airborne school and then on to selection and everything. He's just hardcore dude.
Yeah.
But my Medevac bird landed under fire, and while it was on its way in, my lieutenant, that's actually from San Marcos, small world, he's freaking, like I'm going to say, it's a great dude. He's actually just finished at Harvard, and he's becoming a PA in the Army right now. West Point wasn't enough for him.
Yeah, had to go to Harvard.
Some people, man, they just keep going.
Just brilliant.
Yeah.
So they were saying something about getting a Skedco out and loading me up. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting carried off. So he helped me up, and we ran out to the bird, and he set me on it. And he was like, damn it, Gomez, like you went on R&R before me. Now you're going home before me. Roger that, sir.
As your eye is hanging.
Like, hey,
God.
my bad.
At least there's not spaghetti sauce all up in you.
Yeah.
And that morphine, you can keep it.
Yeah, you didn't like it?
They finally hit me with that, and it was like the bottom of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I didn't have pain. It was just if somebody was pushing on your face, that pressure.
Yeah.
And so laid back in the bird and took off like an episode of MASH.
That's insane. So walk us through that. You get into the bird, and what's the situation?
So back then we wore the IOTV, and I had lost 90-ish pounds on deployment. So, the front side.
90 pounds?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're a big boy.
Nice, dude. That's good. No diet like war.
Right. I had rolled the side, the little Kevlar in to make it at least fit. Because whenever we went to CIF before we deployed, everybody, you guys are walking in and be like, I need a 1X, 2X, whatever. Like, cool, here you go. Well, they had a 3X sitting there, and I tried it on. Like, perfect, fits great. I'll take this one. They're like, no, that's display only. You got to special order yours.
Oh, come on.
Display only.
So I had lost enough weight on deployment that the little cable that runs through the back, I had to cut it and kind of electrical tape it so it wouldn't fall out. So we're on the bird. We're already in the air, and have my atch and everything. Well, they're trying to pull the cord to have my equipment fall apart.
It's all duct taped.
Yeah, so they're pulling me off the floor, and I'm like, whoa. Undo it and flip it off. I'm like, all right, proceed.
Yeah.
We're good here. And we get to the first Medevac station. It was Fob Shank at the time. And they roll me in. Prepare yourself. So they, get me on the table. They're checking me. They cut all my clothes off. I'm like, cool. First time I've worn underwear in a year. It's great. Cut it off. Hope. There's no way to look cool right now. And, the nurses and everything just laughing.
Yeah. Oh, they're laughing at you.
Yeah. At the comment.
I know.
Yeah. And then, of course, they had to check you in for internal bleeding. Never knew what that was. Surprised at that. Maybe screamed a little bit. My buddy that was on the other side of the RPG came running in. He was like, Gomez, are you okay? I'm like, no, man. They just check me for internal bleeding the way that they do. And,
well, let's hear it. The audience is curious.
All right. So anyways, leading up to being checked, they were like, sir, I've got to stick a finger in your anus and check if there's any blood. I'm like, no, I'm all set. They're like, no, we have to do it. I'm like, I don't care if you're my girlffriend or the hottest woman in the world, you're not doing it. And as soon as I finished that sentence, they had done it, and I screamed a little bit. So that's when
I feel violated.
Right.
You should have been like, already checked.
Yeah. Dinner, it's
exactly.
No dinner at all.
Yes.
He's put some lipstick on. But
the military takes away the fun for everything.
Yeah.
Right.
This could be a real fun event, but no.
Yeah. Well, so at that
internal bleeding, that's how they're going to check.
Supposedly, unless they were
an
just
inch and a half up your.
I think they were just betting on who could do it first.
I think they were just messing with you.
They were definitely messing with you, brother.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, but so right after that happens, they load me back up, put me on a bird, and send me to Bagram. But right before I leave, they tell me I need to call my parents. They're pulling out a phone. I'm like, nah, they don't need to know because I don't know the extent of what's going on.
And like, tell me how you're moving. Are you like feeling pretty good? Have you looked in the mirror yet? Have you seen the damage? Are you pretty lethargic and beaten down?
Man, I'm there. Like if I had just woken up, from sleeping at night, I'm just like, I'm there mentally. Mm-hmm. Years later, 2017 or 18, I actually was able to bring my lieutenant up home where I'm from and take him hunting. And he filled in a lot of the story.
Okay, nice.
Of what I thought I knew everything. My buddy that was injured on the other side of the RPG, how did he get there? Well, he rode the same bird as me. Like I didn't know there were things that had to be filled in.
Yeah.
But, as far as I knew, I was alert. I definitely passed out on the chopper from Shank to Bagram.
Okay.
We hit the tarmac, rolled across that landing, the ground there. You can feel every big bump in the cement. And into the operating room, they told me I need to call my parents again. I'm like, no, they don't need to know. And I definitely cussed out a surgeon there, said he was going to take my eye out. I'm like, no, let's just fix it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, the thing is, if we sew this up and we fix it, if it leaks, it'll affect the other eye and you can lose vision in both eyes. I'm like, all right, but I wanted you to make sure that you try, because if I find out you didn't, I'm going to be mad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure that means a lot to a surgeon that just sees this every day.
It does. They don't. They do not want to take away organs and limbs,
especially eyesight.
Well, and he saved everything that he could of me. It was, I'd shake his hand today and thank him, obviously. But you're not in your right mind. Whenever that's going on, you're a young kid. You're 21 years old.
Yeah. Just got off the battlefield. Yeah. Yeah. You're a little strung up.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah. So I've been asked to call my parents twice. Right before surgery, they say you either call your parents or we're calling them. So I was able to call my dad. And he was in the Navy during the Vietnam war. So I called him. I guess it's like 2:00 in Missouri time. Wake him up in the morning, and it's like, hey, Dad, it's Michael. He's like, I understand. What's up? Well, I got to tell you something. Something happened. May lose my eye. Need you to call Mom. Let her know. And, he was the one guy I knew that I could call that could handle it. I love my mom, obviously, but if I would have called her, it might not have gone as well. So, I put the phone down, have surgery, wake up to a priest giving me my final rites. I'm like, bro, I'm still here. I'm all set. And, then go back to sleep. But the catheter, I'd never experienced one of those. Didn't know how to use it. Figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel you on the catheter. I was abrasive myself during my hospital stint. And I said, you could try. You could try to put that in. I never had to have one, thank God.
Well, so they put it in, obviously, like while I was out.
Yeah.
But they pulled it out while I was awake.
Less nice of them. Yeah.
Right. Well, one of my guys had just come back off emergency leave, and Boyd is sitting there. Like, dude, how does this come out? And he was like, oh, they put you under, they pull it out, bring you back awake. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. And this guy that's larger than me walks in. He's like, all right, it's time to take a catheter out, without a smile.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he doesn't want to do it either.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool, put me on. He's like, no, just hold on to the side, the rails, and we're gonna.
What does he do? Just grab
We're gonna deflate the bag. And we're gonna pull.
Yeah, just pull this balloon right out.
Sure enough, I think he would have counted to 3, but he pulled it on 1, and he's like, all right, now you got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. What a dick.
Yeah. Well, and they told you you have to get up and pee, or you have to pee within the next 2 hours, or we put one back in. I'm like, nope, get out of my way.
Yeah. I'll do it right now.
I walked out of the room.
It's hard to pee on morphine.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It is hard to pee on morphine.
Yeah. So I walk out of the room that had 8 or 10 of us there in the Bagram Hospital, and there's an Afghani family sitting there right next to the room, which bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
But, went in, did the thing, came back, and that was when the base commander was walking around handing out the Purple Hearts. They rolled by, gave us it all, and then, I think Tim was explaining, we took that plane from Bagram to Germany, and then Germany to the United States. And so the cattle car from Bagram to Germany, I was on the very bottom, just freezing my butt off there.
Oh, yeah.
Wake the whole dang time. And then, the flight from Germany, the United States, was the giant plane. And I didn't know about it, but right before the flight even took off, I'm the one that asked to go to the bathroom. So
at least you're on the bottom, right?
Man, I remember that. And I've mentioned it several times during this show, but I had to pee so bad. I was on the third bunk.
I originally was on the top.
And I couldn't. I had like hoses coming out left and right, so I had to hold it the entire time. And I remember getting to station. They were like, "You have to pee, or we're putting a catheter in." And that was my moment. They were like under the MRI. They were like, "Your bladder's about to rupture."
Like, you can pee now, or it's going in now.
Yeah, but that morphine just makes you kind of dead a little bit. But that's rough. That ride is rough.
I sat there the entire ride just staring at the the ceiling inside the plane. Just couldn't believe what was going on. Not in a bad way. Just, all right, what do we do next?
Yeah. And at this point, are you thinking about like what you're going to do with your life next? I mean, there's got to be 1,000 thoughts that are going through your head.
I couldn't tell you what I was thinking about then. I think it was just, I'm used to staring at a valley pulling guard on a guard shift, so I'm probably just staring at a space. But one of the things I can remember from getting to the hospital or at Walter Reed, one of the nurses asked me, they're like, "All right, well, you lost your eye. What are you going to do now?" I'm like, "Well, there's no reason to be mad about it. It already happened. You got to, from Sergio Dierte, you got to life's a garden, just keep digging it or keep going." So, I mean, I don't think I necessarily knew what I was going to do with my life until the day came that they're like, "All right, here's your paperwork and you're out." So I fought for a year and a half to try and stay in. While I was in Walter Reed, I was still trying to go through the program and stay in. So.
Sure.
And the reasoning behind why you couldn't?
It was 2011. It was start of the drawdown. And they basically said, "Well, you don't have your vision anymore. We're downsizing.
Yeah.
You're gone." It left a bad taste in my mouth for a little while, but
I bet. Yeah. So walk us through the recovery for your eyesight.
So I originally was right eye dominant, and now I'm left hand, left eye. But I mean, a lot of it was just occupational therapy. I got to Walter Reed, was rolled into the ophthalmologist right away. She's actually in charge of BAMC's clinic here nowadays, and the doctor that was on charge that night. We later discovered that some of the blast or shrapnel affected my good eye, and I actually still to this day have to get injections in it to keep it from going bad. But so we fought through that.
Wait a minute. For how long?
What's
like, what are the injections, and like how long do you have to be doing this?
So originally we found out. So I was injured August 2009, Christmas of 2009. I was back home in Kansas City, and I'm like, "Mom, I can't see your face." And it's literally just a lesion on the back of my eye that pushes against my center vision whenever it fills up with fluid.
Yeah.
So the doctor
pressurizes too much.
An Avastin, a colon cancer treatment that it just gets rid of the
for life.
Liquid. Yeah, for life.
And where do they inject this?
Into my eye.
No, whereabouts in your eye?
Over here in the corner. I'll look at the doctor.
Oh, that is
so in the white of your eye.
Gotta be brutal.
And if they accidentally hit a vein, I look like an orca whale. It turns red for a couple of days. It's great.
I mean, was that super freaky?
The first time,
seeing that needle come to that in any movie known to man, like would you rather status, I think that gives everybody the heebie-jeebies.
People tattoo their eyeballs, right?
Yeah,
you can change the color of the white.
Yeah, to like black.
Yeah, blue, green. Yeah,
they do that. My Chiefs prosthetic eye. The guy out in DC made me one. It's an all black sclera with the Chiefs arrowhead or the purple heart eye or something. But I like to be like an old car, just original kind of.
So your eye has no vision.
Correct. It's a prosthetic,
and it doesn't. I mean, the prosthetics look amazing nowadays. Like
I appreciate it.
You can't even tell that it's a prosthetic eye.
Yeah, I can't tell with yours. It
matches completely to the other eye. And
it isn't.
The movement is, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so 2 of the 6 muscles were injured in the blast.
Okay.
So I still have a little bit of movement. It's the open cavity, and then they put the actual prosthetic is the coral material ball that they put in there and then attach the muscles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got movement. I don't have to look at it every day, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
But
how does that do? Like, how do you deal with the kind of like depths of fields? Like,
So depth perception, don't quote me, but it's something out to like 20 feet, and then it doesn't matter. Like it took a while getting used to picking up a bottle.
Yeah.
Or my fiance will still hand me my keys and I'll miss, or whatever we're doing. But
so like if someone tossed you keys, you're good nowadays?
Yeah, I was scared back in the day. Somebody would throw anything smaller than a basketball, I'd flinch, which is weird. You're 6'4", like get over it.
Yeah.
But back then it took a little while. And the one thing that I missed from losing my eye the entire time was, I grew up playing baseball and all I wanted to do was play catch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So like 3 or 4 years ago, the Chevrolet dealerships in Kansas City invited my twin brother and I out to take their spots at the Kansas City Royals, their partners game. And before I knew it, we were in center field playing catch.
That's pretty
It's
cool.
kind of like driving where it's just muscle memory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're so used to playing with one another. We were actually out there and I caught the ball. I'm like, holy crap, I just
got a ball.
It's got to feel like an accomplishment.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah.
So does it, are you like adapted now completely? You can play catch pretty easily?
Unless it was my brother, I really don't. Like if it's a basketball or football, yeah, I'll do it because if it hits me in the head, it's fine. I'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
Not a baseball though.
Correct. Yeah, anything that's really gonna hurt, I'm all set.
Don't want to get smacked with one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the hospital, we went through a lot of occupational therapy. There was a gentleman that's a retired SEAL that was in charge of the firearm simulator there. He taught me how to shoot again. I'm way better left than I ever was right.
Mm-hmm.
And, it helps a lot with the hunting trips, the groups that I help out with. It just a lot of occupational therapy for the brain injury because we didn't know that I also had a bleed on the brain from the blast.
Okay.
It cracked my cracked my skull and I had a bleed on the front right lobe of my brain. And we didn't know it for a couple of days. They were going to send me into the MRI and figured that I still had shrapnel in my head. Because I did end up having the Forrest Gump wound. And like some guys talk about, you don't get cleaned up until you get stateside.
Yeah.
I took my first shower and walked out, dry myself off and see in the mirror, I've just got this little bird shot in my right butt cheek. And I don't know how it got there. If the blast was directly in front of you. But, I called the doctor and I'm like, are you going to take this out? They're like, nah, it'll work its way out. But to this day, I still have some. I've got a piece of my left bicep and I don't think I've got any left in my head, but it used to come out every once in a while.
I remember that feeling like gravel and stuff just coming out, working its way out. So what are some of the common questions you get about your eyes?
A lot of people don't understand whenever you say, it's prosthetic. They're like, all right, so can you see? I'm like, no, it
doesn't work like that.
Not how that works. Yeah.
They ask, how did you keep going after it happened? Why didn't you? Again, not being negative, but after I got out of the actual hospital and was in, the WTU there at Walter Reed, we would have a daily check-in, like 8 in the morning, 5 in the afternoon. And there was one kid there from a guard unit out west. He just had the worst outlook on life. He was just mad. I think he had lost one of his legs. He was just sour to everything. I'm like, bro, dude, you're still alive. Like, you're young. You'll get over it. I don't know what the extent of your injuries, like what the experience is like, but we're here. Like, get over it.
Yeah.
I hope it helped a little bit, but
yeah. Sometimes you need that little kick though to push forward.
I would need, a reality check if I was not acting the best too, but just kept going. And then transitioned out in June of 11, went back home. Wasn't able to be seen by the VA for 3 months because the systems didn't cross, like the DOD and VA system. That's where, my twin brother's in Iraq on his second deployment, and he saw Tim Kennedy fighting on TV and saw a group called the Gallant Few on his shorts. And he told me, he was like, hey, you need to look out or, call up this group. And it was a gentleman out of Wichita, Kansas. He's a retired Ranger Regiment major. And he runs the Gallant Few, called him. And he helps a lot with, like, the foundation. It's really big now, and it makes a huge impact in our community. And it helps a lot with transition originally. And now it helps with transition and purpose. Whether you've been out for 20 years or you're just getting out, like, he really helps you find your purpose in the world. And like, if you heard of Run Ranger Run, that's their big fundraiser in February, and now it's the Patriot Challenge. So he helped me get into the VA. Like, I called him, and he worked his magic, was able to get it in. And, I've tried to help as much as I can ever since then. But finally getting the VA, and I went back to another jail, my local Buchanan County Sheriff's Department in St. Joseph, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a week away from going into law enforcement, going into the academy. I had the choice between going to college, going to the Sheriff's Academy. And one of our best friends from high school that had been in the Marines got out at the same time. He was like, come to college here. It's 3 girls to 1 guy. Really trying to sell it.
Yeah, you're going to like your odds.
And nobody in my family had graduated from college at the time. So I went ahead and took the college route, moved to Kansas City. And, it was great. Other than you show up to your first day of class and you're now 23 years old with 18-year-olds.
You're the old guy.
Yeah. And I did get the stereotypical question one time in a history class. The girl asked the question of, if you killed anybody, and the instructor actually stopped it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And, just nicely, politely kind of said, don't ask that.
What's that saying you said again? Ignorance is...
For those that are unexperienced, ignorance is bliss, kind of ish.
Yeah.
And to those that have never been there, yeah.
What was the tattoo you said earlier, though?
That was a Latin one that I had saw, in a journal or something back in the day, and I think it was to the unexperienced. Ignorance is. It was something along those lines.
Man, you're gonna have to text that to me later. Yeah, that's an interesting one. But
I'll have to look that up. I'm sure it's quick Google search away.
I think it was a first sergeant or something from the Marines. Or it had a picture of him and then the statement, and just kind of always stuck with me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny one going back to school, and your priorities shifted. You mentioned before you tried college and it was not for you, and you went to the military. And how is that going back to school from the military?
I mean, you're a little more mature at the time, which is what we really needed. A lot of people that join the military. It's not dumb people that join the military. My platoon sergeant had a 4-year degree, an engineering degree. He worked for like a year at a large company and was just bored with it.
Yeah.
And, he's an amazing guy. So I took college as it's my next job.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you got to do. You show up 15 minutes prior, just make it to class, and do the best you can and graduate. So, you attack it with more of a job person or mentality rather than this is a social event. I'm going to go and drink and hang out and everything.
Yeah, the maturity aspect, you've already gotten a lot of that out of your system, all the partying and stuff, right?
Yeah, drink until who knows how long in the barracks in the morning.
I just did that for 4 years. I'm good. I can focus on this now, yeah.
Yeah, and then like you guys have talked about before, dealing with some of your, your issues that you have coming out, after returning from deployment.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely had the being in large environment, social environments. And what I did was I went to work at a bar for 3 years. I mean,
exposure therapy. That's what I love to hear, man.
Yeah.
And I bet you it helped you get out of that, right?
It was huge. It was a chain of 4 bars. They were all under one owner, and the country bar was the biggest. I can 2-step just because I worked at a bar. But I mean, on a normal night, we'd have 300-400 people. And so you're walking around controlling everything, and there's only 6 of us that work in there as bodyguards. Not bodyguards, whatever, bouncers. We were hosts, so it was a little bit less douchey. And,
5 bodyguards, 4 bodyguards.
Right. But, you're still being observant of the area, but it really does, you get that exposure therapy, and it helps a lot. Get out there, talk to people, realize that it's not the worst of scenarios.
Yeah.
And, kind of going back to the gentleman that taught me how to shoot again, I went back to Bethesda years later to get another eye made, and found him in his office, went and talked to him. This is after I graduated college, started working for Oracle. And, he was talking about the hundreds of guys that come through his office, a handful of succeeded as far as he illustrated it. It was like a crab trap. You get out of the military and you go back home, and then you can't get back out.
Yep.
And it would have been super easy for me. Whenever I first got out, I would play Xbox at night, wake up at noon, ride with our best friend till, midnight in his patrol car, just do ride-alongs. And it was great. I would love it. I would move back to King City tomorrow if I didn't have, a life here and a future wife here. So got to get that one in.
And what are you doing now?
So I work for Oracle. I worked for them for almost 7 years as a consultant. And since the end of 2017, I've actually been contracted to the Air Force. And it's awesome. It gives me the fulfilling, the feeling that I'm actually helping people. We're configuring their HR platform.
Wow.
Nice.
So making functional changes and everything to impact their life. And being back around a community of of service members.
Exactly.
It feels like you're right back in it.
Oh, yeah. Before
That's
COVID,
great.
we would go in the office every day, 3 hours a day. Not that my manager's listening, but, was probably dedicated to people coming by and shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so important, though.
Yeah.
It's so important for that, mental health, making sure to stay plugged in.
Isolate yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you can do is isolate yourself, separate yourself from the community entirely.
Mhm.
Find a way to get plugged back in, whether that's through work or through volunteer work, through hobbies.
Mhm.
There's a lot of different ways to go about that. It's good that you found that early, though.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's Carl that has the Gallon Few that I told you about. He, back in the day, started a breakfast group in Dallas. I think he said for the first couple months, it's one Saturday a month. You show up and you have breakfast, and it just helps you extend your network.
Mhm.
Like, I want to start that here in San Antonio just to provide an opportunity for veterans to come out, meet each other. All it costs is whatever you eat. There's
Okay.
not going to be any alcohol, just because I think we can do one event without alcohol.
Sure. Yeah.
Just come out and expand your network so you have somebody to call at midnight whenever you're having a bad night or whatever. And then it just opens up what you can do, your possibility in your friends list and all that stuff. But
When's the first one?
shoot, what is it? It's October now.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's October 11th today.
I don't know. It's 2 weeks easy enough.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We could find a venue and get people out to it. But he said it started with 2-3 people showing up for months,
That's all you need.
and then it's gotten to be really big. They've actually moved it past just going to breakfast. Now they go to an indoor climbing center.
Oh, that's great.
And they
Yeah.
extend it out. It's just getting people out there, and the physical aspect of recovery. I had to choose to live or die again in 2018. I was working at Randolph down here, and I was pounding way too many energy drinks.
Yeah.
A whole pot of coffee, in the morning before 9:00 in the morning. And I was also almost 400 pounds.
Damn.
Wow.
I got out, quit working out, all that stress, everything that you could pile on top of it. And I talked to one of the guys that was retired from the Air Force there. I'm like, dude, it feels like I'm fighting sleep, like that little electric feeling that wakes you up.
Mhm.
So I came to BAMC and my blood pressure was 258 or something over 180. And they were like,
Man.
Jeez.
yeah, they're like, you should be stroking out. So, they got me right there. I called the VA while I was still living in Kansas City at the time. I told them, I'm like, I need help now. And, my form of help then was, I had tried every diet in the world, and they actually helped set me up for the weight loss surgery that the VA can provide. Had it done July of 19. I mean, it gave me my life back.
Oh, you look great, man.
You look like you're in
you
phenomenal
look
shape.
like a football player.
That's my fiance. It's all her. She takes me to CrossFit. I am kind of like a vegan. I'm going to tell you about it because I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it works for you, yeah.
It's great. Other than just pounding weights, it's a functional
Yeah.
way to stay in shape. So it's great to mix them both in.
It whatever therapy works for you. That's
Right.
what I always tell people. It doesn't matter if it's, vegan or vegetarian or
definitely not
CrossFit.
crap on them at all. It's just-
Yeah. And it's nothing to be ashamed about. As a matter of fact, it's a point that you should be very proud. I mean, 400 pounds to someone looking like you could beat anyone up in this room. I mean,
John Cena now, dude.
Teddy bear.
6'4",
Cock Diesel over here.
Yeah, Jesus.
No.
Well, that's great, brother. I always love hearing people come out on top of injuries and continuing to serve. So where can we find you at?
I'm on Instagram. I think it's Michael Gomez 13F, for Fox. I'm on Facebook. And if anybody ever needs any help, just please reach out to me.
Sure.
Like I said, I help out with a few hunting and fishing groups.
Mm-hmm.
And, we cater to Purple Heart, Disabled Veterans First-ish. And then, everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the Turk Tribe Foundation. We take people out on an exotic ranch down here, a family. They donate their time and, everything to take guys out. Had an Army retired soldier from Atlanta. He grew up inner city. He came out, went hunting, and it completely changed his life. It was a whole new experience. And, he lives in New Braunfels. He's one of my brothers to this day. And then, there's just a lot of people out there that want to help you if you ask for it. And don't be afraid to ask for help. It's not a weak person that, it takes a really strong person to ask for help.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So if anybody ever needs anything, please just reach out to me. I'll direct you the best that I can.
Excellent.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
You're an awesome dude.
Thanks for being here today, Michael. Yeah, and if anyone needs to reach out to Michael, please reach out, get a hold of him. His contact info will be in the link pretty much anywhere that this is posted at. Thanks a lot for being here today, man.
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
This has been the Medevac podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.